Hi, I'm Scott Flowers with Cloud Ninjas. Today we're going to start a new series on the HPE ProLiant DL380 Gen 11 server. In this video, we're going to specifically focus on processors, but in the video series as a whole, we're going to cover processors, hard drives, solid-state drives, memory, ILO, VMware, Windows Server operating systems, network cards, and a whole bunch more. So click that like and smash that subscribe. Let's get going. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by today to learn a little bit more about the HPE ProLiant DL380 Gen 11 server. In this video, we're going to specifically focus on processors. So let's go ahead and hop in. There are two CPUs inside the DL380 Gen 11 server. It's an LGA4677 socket, which means it takes Intel Xeon Scalable 4th Gen and 5th Gen processors. 4th Gen will be your Sapphire Rapid and 5th Gen will be your Emerald Rapid, and those are going to be a ton of different good CPUs in there. And that's what we get asked all the time. Hey, what CPUs do you recommend? And it's tough because there are so many good CPUs on the list. How do you really narrow it down? So we've come up with 3 different sections. And again, these are not all inclusive because there are so many good ones out there. These are just some that we recommend, okay? So the 3 that we have are the low end, the value, and the high end. And then we put 3 in each section for you. So the low end just going to be for your budget conscious consumer who doesn't need the highest cores or the fastest speeds. That's a great option right there. Or if you're dealing with Microsoft Core licensing issues and you only can get 10 cores, 12 cores, 18 cores, 16 cores, whatever the case may be, the low end ones might be a good option for you. Now we have the value, which will be a nice little sweet spot where again it's going to be more expensive than your low end, but it's going to be better specs, right? It's not going to break the bank like some of the high end ones that are going to be much more expensive, but it's going to be the nice little value sweet spot. And then we have the high end ones that are your most expensive, 64 cores, going to be your Emerald Rapids, and it's going to be some of your good procs. So let's go ahead and start with the low end. All right, so there's 3 low end that we recommend. All these are going to be silver, the 4410T, the 4410Y, and the 4416 Plus. That's going to be a 2.7, 2.0, 2.0, 10 core, 12 core, 20 core. Again, all 3 of these are great procs to use, but they're going to be budget friendly, lesser specs as a whole, but again, good procs to use as a whole. So now let's discuss the value procs. All right, so the 3 procs that we recommend on the value side, you're going to have the 5423N, the 5418Y, and the 6430. All these are gold from the 4th Gen Scalable. All great procs, going to be 2.1, 2.0, 2.1, 20 core, 24 core, and 32 cores. Again, all great procs that you can use on the value side, and all stuff that we can build for you in a custom built server. So now let's talk about some of the high-end procs we recommend. All right, so the 3 high-end procs we recommend are all platinums, and they're going to be 64 cores, all 3 of them. It's going to be your 8592 Plus, your 8592V, and your 8593Q. It's going to be 1.9, 2.0, and 2.2. All of these, again, are 64 cores, going to be the highest in procs. They're going to be your 5th Gen Scalable. They're going to be the most expensive procs, but the best performing procs as well. So this will be the high-end procs that we recommend. All right, so now we know a little bit more about the different types of procs, the ones we recommend. We're going to show you physically how to remove your old proc and install a new one. But before we do, I'm going to grab my ESD gear and be right back. All right, I have my ESD gear on. We're safe to open our machine. So first thing I always like to do is lay out everything that we're going to need. So you're going to need a T30 bit. So it's not going to be your normal Phillips head. It's going to be a T30 bit. That will be for the heat sink, to remove the heat sink. You're going to need a rag because you're going to need to clean your old heatsink off, and you're going to need thermal paste to put onto the new CPU before you put it into the heatsink. So let's go ahead and hop in. I'm going to toss all this to the side to start. All right, now we're going to remove our heatsink. We've got our T30 bit, which is all we're going to need. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen up each one of these screws. Once we're done loosening up the screws, we're going to take these clips that you see on each one of the screws, and we're going to want to turn them to a vertical position. And once that is done, we can take our heatsink and physically lift it up. I'll turn it over to show you the bottom. It's actually pretty cool looking to look at the bottom of the CPU as a whole. We'll even do a little B-roll just to show you all that, because I don't know, when I looked at it, I thought it was pretty cool. And the next thing that we're going to do is there's a little clip on the bottom that you have to turn up almost like a hinge that will help to remove the CPU from the black clip, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So let's just go ahead and loosen each one of these up. And I always like to use a manual screwdriver as opposed to an electric screwdriver. You just get a much better feel for how it's coming off the board, less chance of stripping it. It does take a little bit longer, a little bit more elbow grease, but it's my personal preference, so I always try to use a manual screwdriver. Sometimes we have to use the electric ones because we have to, you know, bang out 100 servers in a day for a build, and you know the guys got to go through a ton of them, so they might have to use them. But generally speaking, we're a big fan of the manual screwdrivers. So all right, so after 3 of them, we got 1 left, and it's just a nice simple process overall. All right, so now that they're all done, we're just going to take these clips, push them to a vertical position. Take these clips, push them to a vertical position. All right, so now that all of these are positioned up, we're just going to simply lift our heatsink straight up. And this is what I wanted to show you. If we could scroll in a little bit here, the CPU looks really cool on the bottom. You can see all the pins as well and the socket. There are, as we said, 4,677. So it is, there's a lot of pins in there. And that's one thing that we're always really careful with our thermal paste. For that reason, you need enough thermal paste to make sure you keep this cool, but at the same time, you don't want too much, because if it goes over the edges, the last thing you want is getting into these pins. The old ones, you might have been able to clean them out a little bit, which was already a pain. With these, I just don't think that's going to really be possible. They're just too tightly packed. So one of the things that we always say. So all right, now what we're going to do is remove the CPU from the actual heatsink. So this bar that you see right here, we're simply just going to lift this up, and this will push the CPU out of this black clip. Not a huge fan of this either, but that is the design. And then when you push it back in, it just feels a little too rough for me, but that is how it is designed and it works. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so once this is up, you will see we're just going to push this up. Turn it sideways for a better view. So we'll just push this up, and you'll see right here, it's gonna push over the black clip. And now I can physically remove the CPU. Okay, push these 2 clips out as well, and just pull this right out. And you'll see that there's a nice amount of thermal paste in here. Not too much that it's going to go over the edges and into the pins, but enough to keep everything nice and cool. So what we're going to need to do is clean up our CPU, and more importantly, clean up our heatsink so that we can apply new thermal paste on here when we install our new CPU. All right, so I safely set my CPU in the tray for now. We're going to clean our heatsink to start, so just get a nice clean rag here. And we're just going to do this nice and slow, and we are just going to clean off the old thermal paste in here. And you can see I was not meant to be a maid in my past life. Very slow at the cleaning off the thermal paste. But we'll get it nice and clean here and get it taken care of. The plastic, definitely I'm trying to be gentle because the plastic is kind of tugging on the rag here, and I don't want any leftovers of the rag, so I'm just going to get it nice and clean. And I'm also trying to keep some of the adhesive stuff at the bottom here too. So, and luckily, because this is a new system right now, when I'm doing this, this thermal paste is actually still pretty wet, and realistically probably could have been used, but I'm doing this for some of the people that are using this down the line to let them know the proper way to do it, and their thermal paste by that point will be old and need to be redone. So we'll get this nice and clean, and then we'll be ready to install a new one. All right, so a few things that I want to note here. We're going to go ahead and clip this back shut before we put our CPU on. Now, one of the things that you might wonder when you go to install your new CPU, hey, do I put it like this or do I put it like this? I'm not really sure which way it goes, and that's a very reasonable question. So the thing that you want to look out for is right here. We'll try to scroll in to show you. On the PCB, there's a gold triangle, and there's also kind of etched out here a triangle on the corner here. And if you look down at your heat sink, there's a triangle right here in the black clip. And if you look at your motherboard as well, which we'll show you in a minute, there's a triangle on the CPU socket that's showing you how to line this up. So all the triangles essentially just kind of let you know how to line everything up. So we will end up putting the CPU like this. So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and put some thermal paste on. And the thermal paste, again, you need to use a nice kind of balance. You want enough of it on there, but not too much. And for the bigger ones, you definitely put a little bit more than we used to back in the day, where we would just put kind of a little bit in the middle. These are a little bit hotter, so we do put more of them on there, but not a ton. I'm not trying to put a ton on here. A lot of these lines are really small. There's more, they're thicker right there in the middle, but I just try to put some of the little bit of residue on the end, but not too much, but enough that as soon as I push it on, it's going to smush around, and there should be plenty of it on there. In fact, I might even just put a little bit more in the middle right there, just to give it a little extra. So, and I'm sure someone's going to comment and say you put too much on, but honestly I like to have a little bit extra, but not too much, again, because you don't want to go over the sides and into the pins, and you got to keep it cool. So again, a nice balance is important. So all right, triangle to triangle. So we're going to take this and we're going to slide this under the clips to start. So we're under this black clip right here, and we're essentially just going to come straight down. And this is the part I'm not a huge fan of. You kind of have to push a little bit harder than I'd like to get it to go through these 3 clips. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of pick up as we go, get this put away. Our CPU is ready to be installed. So essentially what we did to remove it, we're going to follow the exact opposite steps and go in reverse. So we're going to line this up, and I always like to do this first just to make sure that it is fully connected. And of course, you definitely want to double check all 4 of these black clips to make sure that not one of them is hanging out or anything like that, but everything's good. And you can also tell if I would have put on too much thermal paste, it would have come, you know, shooting over the edges here. So we did a good job of not putting too much on, but enough to keep it nice and cool. So we'll go ahead and install it. And if you did put too much on, this is where I would stop, take it off, clean up your area, and go back to start. But that's one of the things I always, just to be really safe. There are 4,677 pins, so we're just trying to be safe here. So all right, now we're just going to go ahead and flip this over. So make sure you have your clips facing up, and we are just going to line this back up with the 4 screw holes and come straight down. Okay. Once we have it down, we're going to take our clips, we're going to push them to the sides like we had last time. And you'll hear them kind of clip into place a little bit. And then once we've done that, we're just going to get our T30 bit, and we're going to do the zigzag pattern again. So we'll start over here. And we're going to come to the opposite side over here. And you can definitely feel it tightening to the board, which is again another reason I like the manual screwdrivers. All right, so 2 are done. We'll get the 3rd one done. All right, so they are all nice and tight. I'll do one last, just double check to make sure they're fully tightened. Yep. All right, all good. So now that we have our screws done and we have our clips down, we've installed it. That's it. We've officially upgraded our CPU and installed a better one. Now the next thing we need to do with this system is buy another heatsink and buy another CPU so that we can get 2 of them inside. If your CPU is higher than 150 TDP, then make sure that you have high performance fans. You will need high performance fans if your CPU is higher than 150 TDP. And on that note, if you do need any CPU upgrades, we do sell spare CPUs or CPUs to upgrade, as well as heat sinks. So you can go to our website and you will see a page that will offer you the various CPUs for this server. The heat sinks aren't on there yet, so just message our sales team for the specific heat sink that you want. But all that will be available to you, and we can overnight if needed, depending on the CPU, of course. And if you also want a custom built Gen 11 server, or even an older used Gen 10, we stock new and used. We do HPE, Dell, Supermicro, IBM, Cisco, and we would love the opportunity to earn your data center, your home labs business.